What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Don Illuminati, back with another video. I'm gonna try to make this real quick. But the Bible says that the enemy, Satan, is the author of confusion, right? But there's gonna be many things that if you allow the Spirit of Christ to use you and utilize you, that is gonna confuse the enemy. That is gonna confuse the enemy. And God Himself is the greatest author of everything or of anything. So if He wants you to be confused, check this out, right? I know the Bible says that Satan is the author of confusion, but Satan is not the one putting strong delusions on people. There's people out here that God purposely confused for a reason, and usually it's the enemy. So that's how you know who Satan is, because when he do things in the spirit and we can understand, but they don't. I mean, there's your wheat and your tare right there, right? You can divide it. There's the spirit of discernment that not only do you have to have an exercise, but it's being projected. It's being projected. And no matter where you fall in place in the midst of these things when they happen, as long as you can divide yourself out and you realize you're on the spirit of Christ, you're on this side of things, dog, everything is all good. And it's also in your favor. It's a lot of things that is about to change. We are getting ready to walk into our new paths of life. And, these are the things that I hear in my spirit. Can I see them with my eyes? Can I imagine it with my brain? No, I can't. My spirit know that there's something on the verge. And my spirit also knows that we're okay in these times and these things, right? Because we're okay now. We're just worried about what the world going through. If you really realize it. If you sit back and you look at your life and realize how blessed you actually are, you'll be like, okay, well, the energy that I'm feeling is because of everyone else. And if they ain't right yet, it's on them. You have to continue to let your light shine, because even in times like this, and this is all the way to the end, right? There's still going to be people that's going to pick up on your light. You understand what I'm saying? So allow God to use you. Allow God to keep you in favor, keep you with that bright essence of illumination of His light, because that's going to shine on other people. And even in the midst of bad times, when we could have been down ourselves, He ain't gonna let us be like that. This is why we're enduring to the end of certain things, because we're going to have our opportunity to serve a higher purpose, right? For the higher calling. But we're already serving a purpose, right? It's just the higher calling that we're trying to reach, because we understand that it's going to reach more people for Christ, for the kingdom work. Let's be honest. We all know Babylon's going to fall, so we ain't trying to do this to be rich and live lavish in Babylon. No, we're trying to do this because we're trying to securely and safely, comfortably find our spot in the kingdom. This is where we get ready to get paid. We know this is going down. So this ain't about clout. It ain't about fame. It ain't about money. It's about serving the Lord. The Lord never said that He was going to pay you in money. He never said that. He already paying you for being obedient. He already taking care of you. He already, you know what I'm saying? This is already things that's like, I want to say mandatory in God's eyes, literally, right? You're being obedient. He's going to take care of you. This is why obedience is better than sacrifice, right? So that's one thing. We're not trying to do this purpose so the Lord can lavish us, right? As He's already been taking care of us. We're doing this to find a place of peace, comfort, protection, prosperity. And prosperity is not just about money. And prosperity is just not about being rich. It's not having the riches, because no matter how much money you have, you couldn't pay to revitalize your spirit if your spirit is going through turmoil. Sometimes, even when you pray, it doesn't just go right away. So that's just being said, like, we're going to have our moments. In times, we're going to have to endure. You can't pay for it. And sometimes you can't just pray away immediately. It doesn't happen like that. What happens is we've already entered into the storm. And we're going to pray in the midst of the storm that God brings us out okay. He said He will never leave us nor forsake us. But that's only if you stay in tune with the Spirit, if you stay with Him. A lot of times we get distracted by the things that are going on and we tend to slip away. I'm only speaking for personal experiences. And I found myself to be pretty down to earth. I feel like a lot of people either face the same things or been through the same things that I've been through. If not, if you're getting ready to go through certain things, just mind you to take these words with you when you go, right? Because people like me are always here to help guide these processes by continuously sharing our testimony, sharing our story. We have faith that we know that the Lord is going to use these things and he's going to place them where they need to be. All we doing is we're working for the kingdom. Look, I feel like for every video that I do, regardless of who sees it, the initiation and progress and elevation in the spiritual realm, right? Where it's allowing me to climb higher in the spirit. This is exercising the faith. Exercising the faith. Look, faith without works is dead, right? So we can say we got all this faith all we want, but see, in Revelations 19 tells you that he's going to judge you off of your works. So what is the work that we're doing? We're spreading the good news of God. We're spreading the gospel. I'm telling you, this is why it's so important to try to entertain less of the things of the world at this moment. Leave the world behind, right? Let's entertain the spirit. Let's entertain the kingdom. Let's entertain our kingdom building, our kingdom structure, who we are. Yes, let's allow the Lord to utilize the vessel, right? You're gonna get up there and you're gonna not know. Stop thinking, right? For some of y'all, right? Stop thinking that you're coming up with these outlines to present this message, because the spirit he's very spontaneous, right? And he can use you most when you're not already in his way. When you don't say, all right, I got these blueprints and I have this and I got that and I'm going to talk about this and I'm going to talk about it. I've seen the spirit use me at times where before I turn on this camera, literally most of the times when I feel like some of the most powerful messages, I literally get up here and it's a brain fart. It's like I have nothing on my mind. I have nothing that I want to speak to, right? And as I progress in the midst, right? Anybody who understands the gift of gab, right? Okay, so be it. You got me there. Okay, so what? I got the gift of gab. It's a gift. And guess what? God gives all the gifts. But it all decides and depends on who you're going to utilize it for. It's going to determine if you're going to get blessings and rewards from God or curses and hexes and stuff like that from the devil, from the satanic realm. Because even temporarily, though, Satan might bless certain individuals, right? Because they had a higher calling in the satanic realm. So it's meant for them to be where they are, just so other people can see them. So Satan, he has I would like to say an unlimited amount of funding, to fund these things. So we got funding versus truth. We have funding versus potential. We have funding versus capability. We got funding versus longevity. We got funding versus consistency. We got funding versus repetition. We got funding versus the word of God, the spirit of God. And this is why we got to allow him to use our vessels, because we're doing all this against funding of the satanic realm that will try to outshine anywhere we go by funding them, by them having to come together as a whole, a community of people, just to come at one person. Most of the time, that's the way it is. And I'm telling you that's the way it is because I'm usually that one person. But now, see, I don't wait till the gang up on me. No. I roll right into the joint, dog. And it's like, what's up? Yo, your boy here for the smoke. What's good? Right? So the moment I started approaching it that way, I've just got to keep it 1,000 with y'all. Yo, they didn't want no smoke. They all turned their heads. They got nothing to say. Well, what happened to all the provoking? What happened to the antagonizing? I saw y'all antagonize people for the last 24 hours in these chats. I roll up in and, what's up, bro? You ain't giving me no exercise at all, no activity, right? And yeah, I'm really mad about that, right? So it's like, bro, what's good, bro? What's good? Yo, your boy in the atmosphere. We here, dog, right? We're going to get talking about the Son of Man activity because I need y'all to know that spirit of the Son of Man is going to be in all of us who have accepted to win and fight the battle. Now you can decide what part of the battle you decide to fight. You can fight physically or you can fight spiritually. You can fight both, right? Because it's going to take your physical body, right? That's why I'm trying to tell y'all, this ain't just a spiritual war. If it was, we would not be utilizing these phones. This is a physical object I'm using. It's an inanimate object, right? that's causing things to be virtual on the other end. But I physically got to put in my energy. Physically. I got to speak to you. I physically got to feel certain emotions. I go through a lot of things physically doing this work. Sometimes it even gets you caught up in situations that physical things take place because you're a person putting out the word. So this ain't just spiritual, bruh. Look, it's not. You're going to have to decide. Because if you continue to say, okay, it's just a spiritual battle, okay, then we probably never see y'all. And you must be in your knees somewhere, praying in your closet, something like that, because you're going through the spiritual battles on your own. But by the time things physically happen, we can physically see your presence. We can physically understand you. We can physically hear you out. Those are things of physicalities. You can't tell me you're not. Do you spiritually feel those emotions, or do they physically affect you? They physically take your mind off of things. They physically make your heart feel something different. Physically, you can feel something. You're going to say it's my spirit, but you're feeling it inside your vessel. And it's causing you turmoil, mentally, spiritually, and physically. You just don't believe it. A lot of times when you keep ignoring these things, right, you allow them to continue. Then they'll start to cause you things like headaches, migraines. You can even come down with the common cold or even a flu because your immune system is starting to break down because you don't have enough energy in your body that's revitalizing your body, your actual vessel. That's what I'm saying. When your spirit dies, your body could start to deplete. It'll start to deteriorate from the inside out. This is how a lot of people have health problems. A lot of health problems. It's unimaginable of the kind of health problems that come because of stress alone. They can cause you to start doing different things, hanging around different people, eating different, which can start to change your physical appearance as well. So, dog, these spiritual things are definitely and most certainly attached to our physical presence, our physical bodies, this physical vessel. So I want people to understand it. The reason why we have to pray in the spiritual realm is so we can be led physically. Because if we don't, we'll end up in physical situations. Now check this out. Now there was a spiritual battle between Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego when they walked through the fire. Because that was a spiritual battle. But if they wouldn't have stayed spiritual, do you know that they would have physically got burnt up in there? How about Jonah in the well? Same thing. Noah with the ark. Moses with the river, right? These were spiritual things that they had to do before something physically detrimental took place. Am I correct? Right? Okay. We got the biggest, greatest examples that was provided for us in the Bible of how if we didn't walk this physical walk, the spiritual walk, the right way, that physical things will take place. Do we get it? Right? Physically things will take place. This is why obedience is better than sacrifice. Obedient in the spirit, you will not have to sacrifice things physically. It's not just things in the spirit. Because you're not obedient in the spirit, it's already because your spirit is depleted. So how much more spirit are you sacrificing? That's not what it's talking about. It's talking about sacrificing the blessings, the mercy, the prosperities of life. These are all going to be physical things for the most part. Everything you depend on and to maintain your lifestyle, your longevity, your health, your well-being, your psyche. You can say all you want, but these things have an effect on your capability of thinking, your mentality. They have a strong effect. If you're telling me they don't, right? You want to call me a liar right now, and I know how much y'all prayed up in the spirit. I know, and you say, well, you know, and everything's immaterial, but allow the Most High, even the Most High Himself, to just take everything away from you one day, right? No matter if you still got faith or not. You can still love God to death. You're going to be affected. You're going to be affected. First time it rains, you're going to feel it. You're going to immediately feel those raindrops. It's going to be hard to sleep when you can't find nowhere to sleep. You're going to go through a lot of physical things because you just lost something. And you could have lost these things because of your obedience or disobedience. But then you gain things through obedience that you would have never thought that you would have had. God put you in certain places you would have never thought you would have been, or in positions you would have never thought you would have attained. But that's all through the spirit of obedience. So right now, He's closing in on a lot of things right now, forcing you to walk more towards the path of obedience and have an obedient life with the Most High. It's going to require consistent prayer, reading the word, and spreading the gospel. Prayer, reading, and spreading. Prayer, reading, and spreading. Everything that trickles down, other than that, there's other things you can do, of course, giving charity, stuff like that. But obviously we know that there's a lot of things that we could do out of the obedience, right? That's respectful in God's eyes. That if we do these things or we allow them to use us in some ways, it's going to be better for us in, let's say, uncertain times. And these are the times that we're in right now. So if you're uncertain, the only thing you really, really, really got to do is just get back into the word. Get back into your prayer closet. Bro, inside that prayer closet, there's nothing else outside of that realm that exists. The more you stay in your prayer closet, the more you bring that essence out with you when you come out of that closet, out of that secret place. He said, whatever you do in secret, he's going to reward you openly, right? So when it's time to go into those secret places, you make sure you tell no one. You go directly there. You do what need to be done. And you come out. I don't care if you do it a half hour a day, hour a day, 15 minutes every single day, but it got to be every single day. Then you'll start repetitionally picking up in time. Then you'll see how you've exercised so much in the spirit. And you start realizing, wow, even though I'm not praying in tongues, my spirit is allowing me to pray logistically, right? And the things that I never would have thought that would have came up in my spirit, they just started arising as I was praying. But see, that's the strength of prayer. That's the strength of your spirit. Do you want to know how you can, how do you call that? What do you call that? How you get you find out the levels or whatever. You're trying to find out the level where you at in your spirit. You'll know this. You'll know by your prayer life. You might, when you first start praying, right? You might, dear Lord God, and it's kind of slow and you kind of really don't know what to say. And, but then day number 2 comes and it's like, it seemed to pick up a little bit more. But by day number 3, number 4, you're rolling with words and you're like, oh, this is getting easier. That's where you want to be. You want to be that every time you sit down, get on your knees, opening up your mouth, you want the things to just flow out. You literally got your spirit praying for you want it to flow out, right? That's how you'll know that your spirit is growing, right? So the more you pray, more spirit's going to grow. The more you see, listen, and it ain't always being around negative people. You can be around negative people. Not saying that that's what I'm telling you to do, because we know that eventually we're going to end up in these situations. So if you are, it's the only way that can transfer that negative energy to you is if you entertain it. So you pretty much got to ignore it to a certain extent, right? And then you got to figure out either how to change the conversation or get away from that person for the time being, because they're only there to distract you with negativity. Soon as you see it, you got to cut it off. And I mean, as soon as you see it, you got to shut it down immediately. And that's why I prayed. That's what I told God the other day. I said, Lord, I'm so glad you made me the way you made me, because when I say stuff like that to people and I got to do certain things or say certain things, I could care less about the conflict of the situation. And, bruh, like I'm telling you, it works for me because I don't have this little thing boiling in my heart. Like, I got to help these people. I got to save them. I ain't got to do nothing. And if they go too hard, you know what I'm saying? We're going to squabble up. We're going to squabble up, whatever you want to call it, right? We'll get squabble up. If that's what they want to do, right? So I don't think that they're there to try to antagonize you to the point that they actually want to do something about it, because they already know, their spirit knows, touch not my anointed to do my prophet no harm. So then all they can do is try to reel you in. But then what happens when you're consistently and constantly around people who are trying to reel you in? Your faith does weaken sometimes, right? But this is why you got to make an exit route. You have to create an exit strategy to get away, get back to your quiet place, and then you pray for that substance. You understand? And then you will return back to your normal natural state, revitalized with a little extra sauce on you, right? And this is how it works. And I mean immediately, as soon as you start going through any type of spiritual battle, or that you realize and that you know, I got to let you know there's a difference between the spiritual battle, and I got to let you know that there is, because there's a difference between the two, right? So till next time, man, it's your boy Don Clemenati. Shout out to Epic Mindsets for that video, man. I was watching the video. Once I ran across it, it definitely was touching, bruh. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, you know what? I felt that that was a gift in the spirit. That definitely was. And it was confirmation. It was also revelation. And I was getting a lot of revelations before I even came across that video, bro. So I watched pretty much all your videos, just to let you know. And those last two videos you did was rocking, all right? And I mean, I'm telling you, bro, like, bro, whatever shift that did just take place, bro, I'm looking at a lot of people, bro, and I'm seeing them. The Most High been speaking and working through a lot of us, bro, in these current moments. And I appreciate that. So yeah, man, I appreciate that, that video. That's my response to it. Great. You're gratefully, appreciated. I'm just talking about on the streets of YouTube. It doesn't matter. I found you, right? And I utilize a lot of words through that as well. This is where the iron sharpen iron, and sometimes we don't get out there because we're still doing our thing, and we sometimes skip to give thanks to the people who is helping us. So I want to say shout out to Epic Mindsets, obviously, of course, right? New Breed, Mark the Messenger, as I was watching him today as well. And there's plenty of other people that I watch that I let my spirit tune into, and I let it just rock. You feel me? And I even told Shorty one day, I was like, look, like if anything ever, like if I'm in like a real, like, say like down or bad mood, or I can barely respond, I told her, like, go put one of these guys on. I just gonna listen to their voice. You heard me? Because I know they're gonna be saying the right words for me. Look, I'm starting to get high. So, but yeah, so I tell them because I know that the gift that certain people have, and especially New Breed, it's something in the voice, right? Something that clicks, right? And then the spirit is leading and is guiding. It's more soothing, right? So that's for certain chapters or certain things that we go through, certain areas of the sword that need to be sharpened. You understand what I'm saying? So I just swing through a lot of different content. And look, man, I don't even really watch TV. I don't watch movies. Well, I ain't looking for no celebrities or favorite action star or whatever. When I get on there, I be looking for y'all. So that's what it is, man. And I love y'all to death, man. It's your boy Don Illuminati. Peace. One love.